the love that was just coming through me. It never stopped. It never faltered. It never wavered. It was just a consistent, unconditional love. It
Mhm.
was as warm as the sun, right? And then I recognized another presence, and that would be now, mind you, when I am looking out, I can see out in the field because I'm looking through the wall now, right? And I can see out there every blade of grass in this field. I could see every blade of grass. I could see the serrations in each blade of grass. I could see the veins. I could see the colors, and those colors were liquid. It was flowing
Mhm.
like water, right? And I had never seen such magnificent colors. I could see the souls around every blade of grass, and it would look like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, this white halo
Mhm.
surrounding the grass and the trees, right? And I was like, they were so happy to see me. The
So
grass turned,
beautiful.
it was the grass turned towards me. You could see the blades turned toward the trees couldn't, but I was feeling their love
Mhm.
and the colors, the browns, the greens, the blues, the whites. It was just phenomenal. They were alive, is the only
Yeah.
way to describe it. And it was, again, that love was flowing through me.
Yeah.
I encapsulated the love of the universe, of everything. I became everything, right? And it was just so magnificent and beautiful, right? And then as I'm staring out and looking at the trees and the grass and feeling their love for me, this other presence showed up. And it was an instant recognition. I instantly recognized that presence. And that was of Jesus or Yeshua, as he's truly called. Um, and the love bestowed upon me by my brother was utterly magnificent. It was that of my father as well. It was almost too much love. It was
Mhm.
almost, in a word, stifling in a human form. It was so much. And I just basked in this unconditional love. 2020, still having a hard time, barely making ends meet, just trying to survive in every way. Um, And then one day at work, a couple months, like in March, we had this meeting at work. Hey, this COVID thing is out. And,
Yeah.
we had this whole meeting. And I'm like, I've been through so much. I'm whatever. I just didn't care. I didn't
Yeah.
believe in it. And so I come home on April 2nd. It's just another day. It was a spring day. It was a beautiful day. I just remember it was sunny, beautiful. And for a couple weeks, I've been waking up with the taste of blood in my mouth. And I'm like, what is going on? And I'm like, did I bite my tongue, my lips, or anything? And no, I'm really super tired. I was getting, 5 to 6 hours of sleep. I was like, why am I so tired? Just physically exhausted. So I came home that day, made just a really quick, simple dinner, sat down, turned on the TV, took a bite of food, and then I went to take another bite of food and I threw up in my mouth and it was just horrible. I mean, it was just like gross. And then I went to take another bite and I coughed up bright red blood. I mean, bright red. It covered my sandwich. And I mean, when you cut your finger, it's a dark red. You see this dark red blood dripping on the ground, right? Well, this was pink as pink can be. And I was just floored. And then I kept coughing. And now my plate is full of blood, right? And now I'm having a very difficult time breathing. Like I can't breathe. Like there's 5,000 pounds on my chest. And now panic starts to set in because I'm looking out the window, people walking down the sidewalk, walking their dogs, people driving by. And now I know what's taking place. I'm dying. There's no other way. And I kind of walk to the kitchen and I'm trying to breathe and there's no or very little air coming in. So I'm trying to get a hold of my ex-wife, um, because she was an RN. And I'm like, that was the only thing that popped into my head. And I'm frantically trying to call her and then FaceTime her and so on. And she finally answers the phone and she goes like, what do you want? And I tried talking to her and I coughed up blood all over my phone. And that was the first time I had ever seen her show genuine care or concern. She sat up and she said, Jason. And I said, I don't feel good. And, I'm trying to wheeze. And I said, I'm going to go lay down. And she said, Jason, if you lay down, you're going to die. Right. And she said, please don't lay down. Please, please. I said, I'm sorry. I need to lie down. I don't feel good. And I'm still continuing to cough up this blood. I mean, the whole bottom of my sink is just filled with blood. It's just constantly coming up. I'm coughing it up every 2 or 3 seconds. And then the phone hung up and I was like, wow, in my head, why couldn't our marriage be that simple and stuff like that? And next thing I know, I wake up in the hospital and it's now dark. I have an IV in my carotid artery, stuff up my nose, tube down my throat. My hands and feet were strapped to the bed. I mean, I couldn't move them more than 1/8 of an inch. And there was a myriad of doctors around, like a ton of them in my room. But the moment my eyes awoke, there was a presence up in the corner of the room. And it was instantaneous. I felt it. There was a very, how do I want to put this? A very loving presence, but a presence that I recognized.
Mm-hmm.
It was up in the corner of the room where the TV was.
Mm-hmm.
And I immediately tried to, as far as I could, to get to, to look over that way. I wanted to be there. I wanted to get over there. And it never left. It was present right there. It was an instantaneous knowing that someone was standing there. Somebody was there. And I was in excruciating pain. I mean, I was in so much pain. It was mind-altering pain. I would have chopped off my own head to get this pain to go away. It was a brutal experience. And so I was in the ICU for a month. I lost 75 pounds. And I don't know when this ND happened because I just didn't know. But they had taken I had improved. They had taken everything out, the tube, the stuff out of my neck, the catheter and all of this, right? And I'm sitting in my room. It had to be a late day or a mid-afternoon. And I was still looking at the TV and I was looking out the window because all I could see was the top of a tree and the clouds and the blue sky. And I don't know why I did this, but I was just looking at the TV and I got up on my elbows with all the strength I had and I was shaking uncontrollably because I had no strength. And this was the first time I cried out to God in over 43, 44 years. And I begged him not to die. And I'm sobbing uncontrollably. I don't know where any of this came, but when your life is ending or it's about to end or whatever. I cried out to my father. I cried out to him. I truly did not want to die in that moment. I begged him. I apologized for abandoning him,
Mm-hmm.
his son, where I was still holding on to this Catholicism that Jesus was, he died for my sins and sacrificed like a pig. So I said, I'm truly sorry for abandoning you. Um, I love you, and I'm sorry. I never stopped believing in you, right? And the tears are just flowing, and I said, I love you. I love you, Yeshua or Jesus. I said, I'm sorry. Please don't take my children away from me. Please, please, right? I was begging for my life. Um, said, please let me see my children one more time. Please, don't take them from me. And then, of course, There was somebody in my life that was in my life that wasn't there at the moment, but I was like, please don't take her from me. Please. I love her so very much. Please let me hold her hand. Please let me, smell her breath. Let's go for a walk. Please let's make love. And in that moment, I was out of my body. I was at the top of the ceiling. I could see everything behind me. I could see through the walls. I could see everybody dying, the nurses' stations, the color of their uniforms. And I'm in this incredible love and this light of unimaginable proportions. There's no way that I can describe to you in this archaic, barbaric language
Mm-hmm.
that we have created the kind of love and what
Mm-hmm.
this was. And I'm looking at this body on the ground or on the bed, and I had absolutely no love or desire of it. It meant nothing to me. Um, it was just I was young again. I was juiced. I was like I had this incredible amount of energy flowing through me and this love, this unconditional love. It was as warm as the sun. And I was loved for the first time. And I knew exactly where I was. This thought started to permeate. And it was, I'm home,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, I'm home. And I was just being loved and adored. And as I merged with that light, as I merged with that feeling of love, I became that. I became one with the light and one
Mm-hmm.
with the love. I became one with my Father, with God. How long this took, I have no idea. Time ceases to, there is no such thing as time. It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that moment of now, in that trillionth of a second, I knew that I had done nothing wrong, nothing. And everything, I was one with everything, all of you, everything in the universe, everything I became one with in a trillionth of a second. And I knew that I had been lied to my whole life. Um, and when guilt started to engulf me, Father quickly loved me even more. And I, the only way to describe it, it was given or shown was that I had done nothing wrong, right? There was nothing to be ashamed of. There was nothing to feel guilty of. Um, that I was evolving as a being, as a soul. And another thought began to creep in my head, or not my head, but into me, into my being, because now I'm communicating telepathically instantly, is that I was like, what a beautiful day to die. Like it was absolutely not, it was so normal. It was so like getting up and getting ready to go to work or going to go do something. It was that simplistic. It was that easy. And the love that was just coming through me, it never stopped, it never faltered, it never wavered. It was just a consistent, unconditional love. It was as warm as the sun, right? And then I recognized another presence, and that would be now, mind you, when I am looking out, I can see out in the field because I'm looking through the wall now, right? And I can see out there every blade of grass in this field. I could see every blade of grass. I could see the serrations in each blade of grass. I could see the veins. I could see the colors, and those colors were liquid. It was flowing
Mm-hmm.
like water, right? And I had never seen such magnificent colors. I could see the souls around every blade of grass, and it would look like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, this white halo
Mm-hmm.
surrounding the grass and the trees, right? And I was like, they were so happy to see me. The
So
grass turned,
beautiful.
it was the grass turned towards me. You could see the blades turn towards the trees couldn't, but I was feeling their love.
Mm-hmm.
and the colors, the browns, the greens, the blues, the whites, it was just phenomenal. They were alive is the only
Yeah.
way to describe it. And it was, again, that love was flowing through me.
Yeah.
I encapsulated the love of the universe, of everything. I became everything, right? And it was just so magnificent and beautiful, right? And then as I'm staring out and looking at the trees and the grass and feeling their love for me, this other presence showed up. And it was an instant recognition. I instantly recognized that presence. And that was of Jesus, or Yeshua, as he's truly called. Um, and the love bestowed upon me by my brother was utterly magnificent. It was that of my father as well. It was almost too much love. It was
Mm.
almost, in a word, stifling in a human form. It was so much. And I just basked in this unconditional love. It was, I no longer cared about my children. I no longer cared about this world. I no longer cared about any part of it. I did not want to be back in it at all, even though I begged not to die, right? And I was in just loved for the first time in my life. I felt worthy of love, being loved, right? And again, I don't know how long this took. I was young again. There was no pain. There was just nothing but love. And then I felt two hands, which would be on my soul, because I'm still, I can see this thing laying on the bed as I was gently being, guided back to my body. And then I felt the hands on my physical body, and it laid me back down into the bed, which was Jesus was doing this. And I was out like a light, out like woof, gone. How long, I don't know. I just remember, waking up to frantic nurses and doctors trying to wake me up. It was Jason, Jason, Jason. We've
Mhm.
been trying to wake you up, And I'm like, I snapped to, and I looked over to back up, and that presence was gone.